going to talk a little bit more about clarity in a noisy world. And I saw in November of 2011 that the 7 billionth person was born. So that's over 7 billion people talking about you and your organization. And as Jeff said, that's an enormous amount of information to take in. But when you listen to the voice of the customer, there are enormous benefits. So you can identify revenue drivers, reduce costs, find operational efficiencies, identify new products and new segments, and create a universal view of customer experiences, but also be able to slice and dice down into and segment specific customer types. So if there are all these benefits with listening to the voice of the customer, why aren't more organizations doing it? Well, clearly there's been an explosion of feedback. 30 years ago, it was relatively easy for organizations to know what people were saying about them. They could read the newspaper, watch network TV, ABC, CBS, NBC, or they could listen to the radio and see the letters that were sent in. Well, now with the advent of the internet and social media, the barriers to providing feedback are greatly lowered. So there's just this explosion where anyone can easily tweet their thoughts on a specific company, product, service, or experience in just a matter of moments. And that's so critical because it's not just a one and done when customers provide feedback on you. They are influencing other potential customers, and they are influencing them at every step of the customer life cycle, starting with awareness, then researching you, purchase, support, and then ideally you want to upsell them and have them become a loyal customer. However, if you're not listening to the voice of the customer, unfortunately, it may result in churn. So with all these benefits, why aren't companies really doing it? Well, first of all, it's very difficult. There's siloed collection. The data comes in multiple formats. A lot of times companies throw bodies at the problem and they sample the data so they only listen to perhaps 0.1% of the voice of the customer information. There's also limited analysis, no universally diverse looking at the information, and no cross-pollination of sources. So it's very stovepipe. Marketing may be looking at social media. Contact center may be looking at call center notes. Operations may be looking at different information, but no one's looking at all of it together. And that's because it's so overwhelming. But with Clarabridge, we can really help change that. So right now, if organizations do want to listen to the voice of the customer, they spend most of the time on manual processes. And while it's important to collect the voice of the customer, the true driver of it is you want to know what those customers are saying, the why and the what if. So Clarabridge helps turn that on its head. So instead of spending all this time collecting the information, you can do much more with the same amount of people. You free up resources to spend time looking at the why and the what if and the drivers. It's not enough to know that people are talking more about your organization or that the sentiment is positive or negative. You want to know why, so you can take action, and if it's negative, deal with it so it does not impact your bottom line, and if it's positive, replicate those successes. And also, importantly, you want to look at the entire picture of the voice of the customer, and Clarabridge enables you to do that by, instead of collecting it, really doing the analysis. And excuse me, so the voice of the customer has really evolved in the past decade or so. So in the past, if you wanted to listen to the voice of the customer, there were siloed data, limited analysis, manual coding, maybe monthly reporting at best. Once you did discover an actionable insight, many times it was many weeks or months after the event occurred. So there were a lot of missed values and opportunities. Today, it's really about that universal view of the voice of the customer, real-time coding and analytics, doing that root cause detection in a matter of seconds, real-time reporting and alerting. It's not just enough to know what happened in the past and look in a rearview mirror. If something's going awry now, if a snowball effect is happening about your organization on Twitter, you want to know in a matter of minutes. And that's where Clarabridge can step in and really help you. And not just on the social media side, but multi-channel across all your sources of information. So looking forward with VOC and customer experience management, it's really about operationalizing those insights. And we'll talk a little bit about that, how you can help close the loop and respond to customers. So it's not just enough to collect and listen and analyze. Now you need to close the loop and operationalize it and often collaborate to solve challenging problems. Oftentimes the voice of the customer provides you feedback on a difficult challenge that one person, Jeff or Sidra, cannot solve sitting in their offices in a matter of minutes.